Cause I'm about that. Cause I'm about that. I'm about that come up, running up on them fools that are talking foolish. Try to get them funds up, killing the mic just like I ran and jewels in. Y'all gonna get done up front, knowing that kid with an attitude, but you can't really blame his nose. I'm gonna do what he had to do. I'm about that cash flipping, I'm getting it on and off the market. Not about that VIP, not me, not never been a fan of carpets. All about that RIP for all of my Jesus gone departed. All about that finish when I started. I'm about that.
Talk down all night, you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night. Down all night, you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night.
Know that I'm about it. Want it, man, I can bring the drama. But it ain't by chance I'm fucking rapping. You don't really want a problem. Made a little cash in the back end, but still rapping, calling me starving. Yeah, y'all gotta ask who the man is. Hope I'm gonna be like, beg your pardon. I'm about that.
Talk down all night, you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night. Down all night, you're not ready. We ride, we're about that. So high, we see the whole city. We own the night.
And what's up, everybody? Welcome to the YSN Power Hour. It is a very special Thursday edition with myself, DJ Oakley, and a bunch of my friends, minus Jeff Bezos. But we have a stand-in replacement in the cartoon version, right in the box with Quinn. Guys, it is National Radio Day. We start off each and every one of our shows with the National Day. Today is the Radio Day. What is the radio station you remember most growing up? We'll start with you, Quinn.
I listened to it a lot, like with my dad in the car. It was, I forget what channel it was. It was on 570 AM. I don't remember what it was called though.
WKBN?
Maybe. I don't know. I listened to a lot of that and Hot 101.
All right. What about you, Max Baseball Academy? Are you a radio guy? What was your station?
Probably K105 forever. It still is today. So.
Very cool. Country guy. Muncie, you're a big-time music guy, a DJ on the side. What's your radio station of choice?
The radio station of choice that I had since I worked for him for a long time was they were CD106, The Wolf, but now it's CD93.3. So I was big, that's right, big classic rock guy. So
I'm a fan. Ty, in a different location with a new shirt.
Yep, you know it. All different today. For me, my favorite radio stations growing up was either 570 WKBN or 1100 WTAM. Just listening to Tom Hamilton and all the Indians baseball games. I always remember that was a staple for me and my dad to listen to.
Wow, very cool. EB.
Growing up when I was younger is probably Hot 101 or 92.5. Now it's all Sirius XM.
Okay, so he's made the transition to streaming radio. Mike McKenzie, your thoughts?
I got to go 93.7 The Fan, Pittsburgh Sports Talk Radio. You know, I'm not a music guy, so of course I'm reverting to a sports talk radio station, but you know, they got some good content.
I gotta say, you said you got a haircut earlier, and you were looking fresh for the babes today out in the YSN land. So, well done.
I guess this won't stop. So,
no, this is the train. You're not gonna be able to get off, my friend.
She's still waiting, my man. She's still waiting.
Golf can get me off of this.
Anthony Hartwig, your favorite radio station.
I grew up with K105, Doug and Mary in the morning every morning before school, and I remember very vividly always trying to guess their mystery sound every week. They'd have like a mystery sound that they'd play, and that would be, I'd be thinking about it like for the first two classes at school, just trying to guess the mystery sound. So.
Okay, I'll take that. Mine growing up was Hot 101. I feel like every time I hear the Cranberries, it takes me back to like 1995 and walking next to the East Palestine pool, because I felt like every time they were blasting the Cranberries. And also right now, my favorite station are flip between 93.7, I'll go with Mike, and also jump on the 105.9 The X with Mark Madden. He does a great job as a provocateur on sports radio. So excited that it's National Radio Day. Also excited that we're not radio. For all those that are asking what station we're on, YSN. Not radio. We're a website, ysnlive.com. And welcome if this is your first time to the Power Hour. And we have a lot to talk about. Hey guys, you know what else it is? Anybody have a guess? Anybody have a thought? It is, oh yeah, it is National Steve Leslie Day. There he is, the birthday boy himself. Happy birthday, Steve Leslie, our wonderful general manager, one of the best people you'll ever meet. Real quick, why we can embarrass him, what's your favorite Steve Leslie story? I have to start with Quinn on this one.
Oh, geez. There are so many stories of Steve that I have. I got to just go with a simple one. Every Saturday at YSU, he'd bring in KFC. And for everybody that didn't know Steve until they met him, they just called him the KFC guy. So that's kind of how they knew him.
All right, go to, his former coaching teammate, Mr. Billy McCartney.
There's a whole bunch, but the one I'll never forget is when we went to Texas last year and we played this game of with the air conditioner. When Steve would leave the room, I would crank it down to like 40 degrees, and he'd come back in all pissed. Mac, why is it an iceberg in here?
Oh, there's nothing like on the road Steve Leslie. That is for sure. Paul Munson, your best Steve Leslie story.
I just love talking to Steve because you never know what you're going to get because he engages in a conversation with you, and then all of a sudden it's like he's gone, and you're like, wait a minute, I wasn't done talking, and he's like just out of there. It's like, Steve's like a butterfly. He's just like all of a sudden he's like, hey, how about that game? And you're like, yeah, great, done. And he just walks away. You're done. You're like, well, I guess that was all he wanted to say.
Anthony Hartwig, any good stories about Steven?
I just like the first time you meet the guy, he calls you brother and he embraces you. And he's one of those guys that the first time you meet him, you feel like you've known him forever. So that's what I love about Steve.
My favorite story about Steve, and you're absolutely right. He's the kind of guy that gives you the shirt off his back. He loves you. He loves what he does here at YSN. He loves all of us. But my favorite Steve Leslie story, it wasn't my favorite when it happened, but when we were on the road for YSU down in Miami of Ohio, I was so sick, just sick as a dog, but I was not going to not do the game. And I had very little patience, and we got to the hotel, and Steve was kind of in charge of that side of it, and he didn't get us a room. So I was absolutely, like I said, sick, and then I just got super pissed at him on top of it. Fast forward to the end of we didn't speak from that moment on in the hotel for 3-game series other than on the air. So you can imagine how cold and frigid it was when I turned the pod down the station, really, and we're not talking. Like, there's no chit-chat, there's no anything, until we get in the car to drive home. We get a low tire, right, for air. Steve couldn't put air in the tire. He couldn't figure it out. Said he did it. I drove another 10 miles down the road. We had less air in the tire than we did before. And I asked him, I said, Steve, how do we possibly have less air when you put a full tire in? And he goes, I don't know how to do that. Why didn't you get out and help me? And I just busted up laughing. And that was it. And that was, the apologies on both sides. But Steve Leslie is the man. I'm so happy it's his birthday. He deserves everything and more, including the moon. So happy birthday to Steve Leslie. If you know Steve, drop in your favorite Steve Leslie story in the chat box wherever you are at on social media. But in the meantime, we have some things to talk about. The capacity comes out, boys, across the way in Ohio last night. And the recommendation, or I don't know if it's a mandate, the recommendation is either 15% capacity for crowds during high school sports or 1,500, whichever is smaller. When you heard this, what were your thoughts immediately? And, is this feasible? Anthony, we'll start with you.
I think 15-20% was what we all kind of expected when we were talking about capacity. It was a number that was thrown around, and now it's just up to the schools. I mean, we were talking about before we came on how to divvy this up. Parents are supposed to get first dibs at tickets, and one ticket per student. But if you have two there's just a lot of questions on how they're going to divvy it up. I saw a couple of schools opening it up to students, but one ticket per student. So there's going to be a student section. It's just a lot of questions and a lot of things that ADs have to figure out in a week. And I think it's a problem they love to have because it's better than no sports, but it's definitely going to be trying for them this whole week, trying to figure out how they're going to divvy everything up.
Michael, your thoughts on the 15% capacity?
Yeah, 15% was around what we were expecting for the season, if there was any capacity at all. I definitely think that this is a feasible number to achieve. It depends if you are able to divvy the ticket distribution evenly without making anybody angry. You know, maybe, I don't know if it's going to be 2 tickets per student. I don't see how 4 would be feasible to keep it under 15%. If you have enough room in the stands, if you're like an Austin Town Fitch and you can get 1,500 people in the stands, do you start opening it up to students? There's still a decent amount of questions these ADs have to answer before they can start, answering the questions of who gets first dibs on the tickets and how far do we open up tickets. Do we give it to students or do we keep it between parents and close family members? There's still some questions that need to be answered, but I definitely think we can get this all sorted out before things start on August 27th.
EB, do you think people realize how little 15% is when you're looking in the stands?
I mean, the smaller stadiums, it's probably not going to be too bad. Realistically, 1,500 might have been a push for some of these games last year, especially for the smaller schools. Now, when you get into like the Austin Town Fitches, the Hardings, even if you go over to Massillon where you have big stadiums, it's going to look like a drop in a bucket. So, I mean, 1,500 to max it out at that, or even 20% if you're going top number, it's not going to look like much. And once you throw in the bands, cheerleaders, and if that includes everyone, it's really gonna put some pressure on people, how to get tickets. Hell, man, you might start seeing high school tickets go for 15, 20, 25 bucks a pop here, which all I'm going to say is YSN $9.99.
Ty, what are your thoughts? I mean, we talked about Austin Town Fitch a little bit. It's going to be flat 1,500. If they have 10,000, that's their capacity. 1,500 people, but in those giant bleachers that they have, it's going to look like not a whole lot of people in that stadium. Agreed?
I mean, yeah, it will, but I mean, you got to bring it though. If you're the fans, you got to bring it. You got to be loud. What I'm kind of curious too, for the rest of the people answering after me. So we have all these high schools that are doing these 1,500. All Elite Wrestling, AEW, just said that they're going to start having 1,500 people at their shows when they're traveling around at 1,500 capacity. Excuse me. So I'm kind of curious as to what everyone thinks. Well, why aren't we doing this with the pro leagues then? Like, why can't the pro baseballs fit 15% people in if like this traveling wrestling company is able to do it? I mean, I don't know. It's kind of confusing to me that professional leagues can't do it, but these high schools and everything else can.
That might come down to just the hiring process, and the AEW's it's like a traveling circus, really. If you think about it, they're taking all their hires with them, and they set up shop inside these arenas, and then they move on to the next town. In Pittsburgh with the Steelers or Cleveland with the Browns, it's not exactly like that. You don't take all your people on the road with you and just set up shop. So, especially from the vendors, because a lot of vendors are third party. So you think about all the stuff that goes into it. With the Pirates, the Indians, and these they're already too far in. As Frank the Tank once said in Old School, we've come too far, and they're just not going to go back. Muncie, what do you feel about this 15% capacity?
I think it's going to be really tricky because if they're saying, and from what I'm hearing from a lot of our ADs is, each student's going to have a chance to have 4 tickets, and they're going to start with the football players, and then they'll go to the band. And then they'll go to the cheerleaders, and they're allowed. Each student's going to be allotted 4 tickets to sell to their family members. Now they're going to be bought up very, very fast because whether it's mom and dad and they bring 2 of their friends, they're going to get those tickets. But when you look at a stadium that's only going to be able to normal full capacity is 3,500. Okay, so now you're looking at maybe say 400 seats. You're only going to get 400 tickets. How fast are those 400 tickets going to go if you have 60 kids on your football team, and then you got the band, and there's going to be some people who are not going to get it. And I think where it's going to start is your students, because they're saying, okay, students are going to be allowed to buy 1 ticket. Well, you might not even get to your students. You might not get to your cheerleaders sometimes. If you've got a big band and a decent sized football team, your 400 tickets are gone. And you got to think about, what about the visiting team coming too? I mean, is that where your 15% capacity comes in of tickets? So,
you got to take care of your own first. I guess that's the way I would look at it. I understand that you got to bring people in, but you got to take care of your own. And if this is the same situation in basketball season, or heaven forbid we're in the same situation next year, then it'll be flip-flop. The other teams will take care of their own, and you just got to deal with it. So, Mac, your thoughts on this 15%? I know that you're not a big fan of it because you're just telling everybody that they're as soft as Charmin.
Yeah, that's definitely my opinion. But I think the best way, you got to go with what's in front of you. And so I think the best way, if I was in charge, what I would do is create a lantern system where, the parents, if you're getting 4 tickets, I would give you a lantern and say, hey, you got to prepay for these lanterns, and kind of go from there, and then kind of figure out after the parents would go down. I wouldn't care one bit about cheerleaders' parents. I don't care about nothing about the band. I don't care about any of that, because we're only out here for the football. So without no football team, there's no cheerleaders, there's no band. So those parents, they can go watch them cheer and play the instrument on YSN, $9.99.
Man, you'd be run out of town if you were an AD.
Yep. Also, you'd probably run out of a town if you were a parent right now with power drills and children in the background. So, you want to give yeah, there's your power drill, and there was a child that ran across the back of the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my niece.
Making sure children's services are not called. Quinn, what's your take on the 15%? And you go ahead and speak for Jeff as well, because we're not.
Well, I'm not
going
going to speak for Jeff because Billy just basically pulled the Jeff on us anyway with all that.
Of course, the guy that comes to the aid of the band.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I agree with it, there's a time.
He was a flute player.
What I said is true. You want to say it, you just don't want to say it on live TV.
You're right. I don't want to dig my.
This is streaming.
So I said it for you.
We're not a channel.
This is not TV.
That's what Jeff's for. Jeff's the one that says the stupid stuff in this.
Billy Mack's taking over for the day on Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, but no, I'm interested to see what schools do that have those bigger bands. I'm assuming Fitch has a pretty big band. What do you do in that situation if you include the band and everything and all your tickets go? Then what?
Well, I think one of the bigger frustrations is a lot of times, as everybody sees, is you have those band parents that are going to go up until halftime. Once halftime happens, the bleachers clear out a little bit.
But they have band night. Let them go do band night.
No,
not everybody does band night.
A band is a part of as much as I know you're not going to agree with me. A band is a part of the Friday football experience.
Yeah.
Do
touchdown gets scored. The band fires up.
It's not.
It is.
Do a special
You won't realize how big a part of the band is until whatever team you're calling scores a touchdown and you don't hear that school's fight song following that TD.
Hit play on the speakerphone then.
The speakerphone? What is it? 1955?
You want a walkie-talkie?
Put it on the speakerphone.
Can we mute Bezos Jr. over there?
There it is. After a touchdown, whatever.
Billy, where's your loyalty to these schools, man? Come on.
No loyalty.
I'm loyal to the football players and their parents who want to go watch the sport.
You've already proven that you're not loyal to the football players, Billy. That was a discussion last week. We don't need to go back to there.
Well, the football players are going to get their chance first, and that's first and foremost. They're letting them, go there. And like Isaac just said right there, I mean, South Range's band's 150 kids. I mean, their band is 150 kids. So I don't think it's going to get past – at South Range, for instance, I don't think it's going to get past the band. I think you're going to get football players first, band, and then that's it. And those are the only parents you're going to see in the stands, and some family friends.
Question: does South Range with that big band take a certain percentage of that band, take certain kids, and put them on this one night, and then the next night they take completely different kids, so that each kid gets a certain night, and then
they won't.
I'm trying to figure out how to keep this band in here.
Would you do that to the football team? Hey, guess what, buddy? We're playing Springfield this week. We don't need you. What? Are you serious? How do you deny a kid that is put in as much effort? I mean, band is the same thing. It's still something you have to work towards to get better. Not everybody's an athlete. I understand this is a sports network, but a band is just as much a part of the experience as the football team, as the basketball team, as the whatever it is. Go to a game on a Saturday in the middle of the day and no band is there, and it's weird. It's a really weird experience because, like Michael said, there's no celebration after the touchdown playing. It's just, all right, line up for the. It's almost like a JV game. Go to a JV game and see how exciting it is.
Well,
To your point, Mike, to your point, I think what's going to happen is I think I'm just trying to do the quick math in my head right now. If there's 50 football players and 150 kids in a band, that's 200 kids. So now, 200 kids times 4, that's 800. That's 800 tickets, and at 15%, you're only at 400 tickets. So there's going to be some of those band kids. I think they might do like A through L. You get this game. M through Z. You're going to get this game, and then the third game, because they're not going to get to travel. That's the other thing. Bands aren't allowed to go to the away games, so they're only going to get 3 games. So maybe that third game is just a wild card, and it's a first come first serve deal.
To go off of what you said, what is the reasoning though behind the 4 tickets per parent? Like, or per kid? Why didn't they just do the 2 tickets so both your parents can go?
Because if you have a brother and sister. Because here's the thing: if you have a 6-year-old brother at home, the child protective services don't like when you just leave them alone at home
with power
drills, right, Billy?
Remodeling, baby.
Child labor over there. Get to work.
Whatever it takes.
He pays them with cupcakes and hugs over there.
Disney Plus.
Yeah.
We got free Disney. Go around.
Turn Dora off. I'm not paying you to watch Dora the Explorer.
Put Bob the Builder on. You'll get some tips.
I mean, B Irish 30 saying 60 players per team allowed on the sidelines. I talked. I don't know if we talked on this show, but we definitely talked on the 21 WFMJ 640 special about how very few teams are going to have that problem, and really around here. That would be a blessing to have 60 people on your sideline. I know teams like East Palestine, Columbiana would love
show up. The minimum is 60. We're going to allow 60. So, like, where do you get those kids to come from?
Well, that's a good way to get in the game, right? I mean, we talk about YSN opening up things for our people and being an announcer. I mean, if you never play football and you want to go to a game, it's time to suit up, right?
Yeah.
Or you're going to see a bunch of parents saying, hey, go play football so we can get a couple tickets to the game. I don't care if you ever play.
That's
just
it.
Go. Doesn't matter.
The one report I saw, too, said that they were
banned to go play football,
allowing standing room, too, as like a thing. I don't know if it was, like, written in, because I know it was 15%, 1,500, but I saw, I think it might have been FMJ that posted it, that to get more people in some of these games, if they were to socially distance, they could open up standing room only too, as well.
Yeah, but then you've got to have somebody police that. You got to have somebody standing there going, "Okay, you have a standing room only ticket. You got to," because what it's going to stop them from just walking up into the stands. That's the bad thing.
Hey, so if this is a revenue-driven thing, so why don't you just go rent out stand ball and play on Saturday and Sunday then, or Thursday?
Because stand ball is not absolutely on board with everything. Because the complaint will be what our guys can't play.
Our guys can't play.
How do we facilitate you guys playing in our stadium?
Money's
always going to talk. I think we all have figured that out by now. But honestly, because you're seeing
it's just an idea. It's why don't you just go talk to these schools that have bigger stadiums and say, hey, we'll rent it off you.
And I think that ultimately, I think that's what's going to happen. But you got to keep in mind that Mooney, Ursuline get the first dibs to Stanbaugh Stadium because they've rented it for years. So when you look at it, do they have an ability to rent it out on a Thursday? Do teams want to change and play games on a Thursday or a Saturday instead of a Friday? Yeah. That's the only way they're going to get around it.
I mean, it's probably too late at this point with the schedule already being out, but
do you really want another headache, though? If you're Coach Tressel and everybody from YSU, I say President Tressel, my apologies, I'm so used to saying Coach, but do you really want another headache at this point, saying from your football team and your football your supporters and fundraising, they're not going to allow the Penguins to play, right, in the stadium. That's not their choice necessarily, but they're not going to be allowed to play. So how is it good that they allow younger kids to play in that stadium?
I think you just said it. It's not their choice that they can't play. So, I mean,
their league shut down. So,
yeah.
And they need to generate money. So, the people, the higher ups there are going to say, if we can get any kind of money we can,
I mean, it's free
let's
money.
go.
Yes, Luke, it is the percent. It's 15% or 1,500, whatever is less.
A
You're
smaller
absolutely-
percentage.
So, I mean, very few schools around here are going to get to 1,500. I mean, you look at I
Fitch,
think
Harding.
Palestine.
Even Fitch,
I was-
Fitch should rent their stadium out too.
I mean,
yeah,
Pitch could
there's
do that
a-
on certain weekdays, and yeah, that it is primarily for those smaller schools. So, like I said, like the Jackson Miltons and the Harding, or not the Hardings, the Reserve, and those type of schools that can't get to 1,500. I think they're stacked at like 250 or 300 right now. I mean, just to get more people into the stadium. That
Yeah, but like Luke just said, it's 1,500 no matter what. It doesn't matter what you rent. Go rent out Brown Stadium. You're still going to get 1,500 people in there max.
Right, but what we're saying is the smaller schools, their venue isn't big enough to even carry.
Well, like I believe
So if
East
you
Palestine,
have-
like, East Palestine has 200 or 2,000 capacity. So I think
Right.
the number is 475. So 475 people will be able to go through
Right.
the gate that aren't on that football field.
It's always 15%. Is a low number. So
It's
it's
always
not
gonna be
1,500 at East Palestine. You got 2,000, so you got to go down to 15%.
East Palisades going to be smaller than that, DJ.
But like if East Palestine were to play at Fitch, you could fit probably the whole home crowd and away crowd into Fitch because the
That's-
75 goes up to 1,500 now. The Fitch
EP is going to be 300 if their capacity is 2,000.
Yeah, because 10% would be 200.
300. Sorry about that. Yep.
Yeah.
That's East Palestine
It's
math
not.
right here. And I did it on a calculator, so that
Calculator.
tells you all you need to know. My words are a little stronger than my numbers at this point in my life.
200 times 0.15. We're going to
that-
fit 385,000 people in this
There
thing.
is a ton of room here. Everybody's bring your sleeping bag. It's going to be interesting. I mean, Luke is still coming. If you rent YSU, yes, it's 1,500, and then yes, don't worry, Raw. We got a
We got a
Yankees
Yankee.
update coming. Don't you worry.
I followed the whole game. I know exactly how it went down too.
We are going. It's still in the 6th, Michael.
Don't
so it's
worry,
not over
Michael.
yet.
I know,
There's people that are definitely following you right now. So
Oh, look at that
Oh, yeah.
fresh
Hey,
shirt
look,
back
there
there.
it is.
Look at-
All
look
right.
at
We
tight
got
end on
another
that.
one.
Two.
you
That's
got another
two.
one. I just got a message. You just got another one.
Oh boy.
Okay, now you're just playing with me.
He's getting a fan club.
That dude,
Now you're playing with me.
not at all.
Maybe we
I've
need to
got
get Mike
no
some
mysterious
shirts.
texts from unknown numbers, so I'm 99% sure you're playing with me.
Well,
Right
he's
now.
not
EB,
gonna get
put,
the number out.
put it on our comments, and we'll post it up here for everyone to see, even with the author.
Not his
So,
phone number, the messages.
Not the phone number.
Yeah.
The message.
We need to
So-
get Mike a shirt, a McNuggy fan, and we'll sell out shirts for Mike.
Dude, we
Oh,
remember those old
sell out.
McNuggies, the old ones, like the ones from like the 80s or the early 90s.
I
Yeah.
want first dibs on those shirts.
You
Mc-
get 10% of the profit. So
I'm a
Oh, really?
McNuggy
All right.
fan, and EB's team will buy the whole thing out. I'm a McNuggy fan.
this
Yeah,
shows you the capacity
EB's
of-
girls team is just gonna wear those for their warm ups.
Oh hell yeah, dude!
So there's
We're
an
gonna,
Ohio
look,
Stadium.
we're gonna have multiple warm ups next year. We're gonna have long sleeves, reliable sources. Underneath, it's gonna be McNuggies. Then we're gonna have our jerseys.
I just want one of those reliable sources ones.
Don't worry.
Has anybody seen that Sir Yacht dude on Twitter? He's full reliable sources right now. That's exactly what it is.
If you're looking to chime back into our conversation here, if you're looking for the stadiums, Luke Schuster has given us full access, ohiostadiums.com, and you have the county list there. You can check out what your stadium capacity is, and I would advise you to connect if you have an issue. Connect directly with your athletic director with any questions that you would have at this point. So definitely check out that site, ohiostadiums.com, and we continue to have some engagement here. Reliable sources. We got people loving that. To rent a stadium isn't cheap. It says Be Irish 30. So
Reliable
revenue
sources
would
is the
be
one,
cut
Michael.
for that team cost for Fitch or a big school. So, I mean,
Yeah, but it's a COVID year. Figure it out.
COVID year. Here we go. And another Jeff Bezos. See, Jeff.
I bet
didn't
Jeff's
wanna be
pretty
part of
depressed
the-
right now.
Why?
Because he didn't want to be a part because he knew what was going to happen today. And just saying, if the Rays win, they take first place in the East. So he's not going to have that tomorrow.
No, he's going to be in trouble.
I've got a full body
we might not
bag
see
ready.
Jeff for a while because he's got that $50 bet on the Yankees, and as you guys saw on our group chat, I have a $50 bet on literally
Everybody else. And I tried to jump in. They wouldn't let me.
But I have to piggyback off of Jeff's comment. It's true. Tune into us because this only just plays into our hand even more. the less people that are in the stands, the more people are going to buy games for us. So
Luke just lost his
know.
privileges to go to be on the show with that last comment because I didn't read it first. I just trusted him. So bye, Luke. We didn't. You lost your privileges for.
I
being
didn't
smart
see it.
mouth.
Darn it.
Yeah, you can go back in the comments and read
All right,
it. Thanks,
I'll read
Luke. Jerk.
Did he just pull a Cincinnati Reds on us?
No. It's worse than that. I can live with the Reds comment. I don't. Yeah, it's.
Now I got to go check it out.
Yeah, you don't have to. Trust me. We're going to take a break. When we come back, still a lot to talk about. The Big Ten denied request for fall football again. So, wound, salt again here for the Big Ten. Can the NCAA afford to lose another March Madness? Yes, no, maybe. We'll discuss that as well. And a topic for Quinn, and Quinn alone. If LeBron goes down 0-2, is it panic time for the Lakers? We'll find out he's going to give it away right there. That's as much as he's going to say about it. And we'll also have the Yankee update with Jeff Bezos with your guest speaker, Michael McKenzie. All that and more, and we will welcome in a new member to the YSN family when we come back right here on the YSN Power Hour.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms. It just tastes better.
And welcome back to the YSN Power Hour. DJ Oakley and a few of my friends with you. Jeff Bezos is on the outskirts in the backstage area.
Scared.
We're gonna make him wait for a little bit to join the show because he thought it was better to comment and told us he wouldn't be here today. So we'll put him on standby. The first part of this show is brought to you by Clientele. Get to them on Booksy for probably the best haircut you're ever going to experience. Proud sponsor of YSN. It is Clientele. Find them on Facebook. It's Clientele LLC. And you can check out all the sweet things they're doing inside that barbershop. Guys, when you look at everything across the board, it's been a rough season already for the Big Ten, and they haven't even snapped the ball once. Today, the Big Ten denying requests for fall football again. So just another little bit of salt in the wound for the Big Ten, Ohio State especially, because they had a stacked roster. When you look at this and how it happened, Michael McKenzie, you're probably the biggest fan amongst all of us. Talk to me about how you're feeling.
Pissed. That's the word to describe it. Kevin Warren has handled this in the absolute worst way possible, and I think he knows it. He sent out the letter, saying we're not revisiting the situation, and the letter contained no real info. It was contradictory across the board. He stated they made the decision concerning the health and safety of the players, yet his son is playing in Mississippi State, practicing, getting ready for the season as we currently speak. Really contradictory what he has been doing. And the main thing he emphasized in that interview yesterday before sending out this letter was the Big Ten players using their voices. They have used their voices for over a week now, and you have not listened one bit. If you're going to tell your conference players to use their voices, then why don't you listen up instead of turning a cold shoulder?
The dagger.
This Friday, I think everybody knows that parents are going to be outside your Big Ten office demanding answers. Lawsuits are threatening on the doorstep, and if you just let these lawsuits fly in, which are going to be won by these parents that are filing them, this conference could be screwed for the next 5 to 10 years, and I advise everybody in this conference, if you can, get the hell out.
Wow. So I guess from that standpoint, we'll go back to the topic at hand. But Michael, what would your solution be? Would it be Ohio State going independent or Ohio State joining another conference?
I think it's got to be Ohio. It's got to be Ohio State joining another conference because they can win every conference. They can at least compete for a conference title in every other conference, in my opinion.
No, they
You
can
got to
win.
look at statistics.
They won't win in the SEC. No,
Yeah, they will.
That's debatable.
not a chance.
They've beaten Alabama before, correct?
All right, they won't win in the ACC either. So pick one.
Oh my. Okay. I actually, the Big 12 would be. Everybody says the Big 12 would be the best choice. I think it might be the ACC because you do have Notre Dame up here, even if they're just joining it for 1 year. You probably join the ACC if you're joining another conference. If not, go to the Big 12. The SEC makes the SEC and Pac-12 make the least logistical sense.
If Ohio State leaves the Big Ten, that is bad news for everybody else involved money-wise. It's just
Ohio State controls this conference.
sure.
Billy Mack, what's your take on this? I mean, what do you? I mean, obviously you don't like it, but what's the solution?
I think if I was a team like, I mean, Ohio State's the one that's got to step up. They're kind of the one that represents all sports in the Big Ten. I mean, in every sport they play in, they're a top half of in the Big Ten of everything they do, and they have so much weight to throw around. I think I would threaten leaving. Hey, if you don't figure this out, maybe we'll go somewhere else whenever our contract's up, or we'll leave. And that's one thing the Big Ten just doesn't. They don't want to deal with that because then Michigan's out, they're leaving, right? You would imagine, and then now you have your premier school is Penn State, at least on the football side, Penn State and Michigan State.
And Penn State could easily leave for the ACC as well.
Sure.
Here's my question: does anybody actually believe that Ohio State didn't have a hand in all of this? That if Ohio State was the team that said, we want to play football, we want to play fall sports, that the Big Ten said, no, sorry about your luck.
I mean, it kind of shows you they don't have the pool that we think they may have.
They weren't one of the teams that voted no.
We're talking about financial for the long term, right? So if Ohio State threatens to leave, that might be a big game changer. If Nebraska threatens to leave, okay, bye. Nobody's offended by that.
Robert Switka saying the Big Ten, Pac-12, or being them conferences that want to say, I told you so, they think that there's an implosion waiting to happen. I think that that's partially right, but I also think that they're set to lose a lot of money if they bet wrong.
Yeah, but in a couple weeks here, week 4, week 5, just like we're talking about high school, some colleges are going to have to say, hey, we can't play this week because of, that thing that's going around.
What if they don't? That's my biggest question.
Yeah, if they don't, that's shame on you.
Because here's the thing is and I think that's where all high schools are right now. They're going to get as many as they can just in case there's no finish to the season. I think we learned in spring that we probably could have played a few games towards the end of what was regulated spring into summer, and the seniors could have had something to take away. Those players could have had something to take away. However, I don't think anybody learned their lesson other than the high schools. I think the NCAA, and I really think that this is a position for Ohio State to make a case that they could either go independent and do things on their own and still make national championship games and still be a national powerhouse. Because let's be honest, I mean, Quinn and I were listening on the way up to Fresh Prince today. When you think about it, there's no other team in the Big Ten that is a national contender other than the Ohio State Buckeyes. Am I wrong?
No.
So if the Buckeyes leave, what do they lose?
Nothing.
And if they join another conference, like if they join something like the ACC or SEC, and I know people, well, if they join the SEC because they're not going to compete because you have Alabama, LSU. People forget like that's a stronghold for Ohio State to come in and start recruiting those kids too, and that's the thing that I think people will miss. Like, yeah, they have the Big Ten locked down, but if you put them in the SEC or ACC and they started getting some of those kids and pulling them from Clemson, or if you're the SEC, the LSUs, the Alabamas, or whatnot, it changes the dynamic more than people would actually think.
I think them as an independent would be huge. I mean, it'd be bigger than Notre Dame. Notre Dame, not saying anything against their schedule. They do play kind of a crappy schedule for the most part, being independent. But if Ohio State got to be independent and said, we're going to play whoever the hell we want, they could just pick and choose all the big dogs that they want every year and play those big schools.
They either played a Big Ten schedule or they played an ACC schedule. So they're only picking up 5 games, half of a scheduled season.
Anthony Hartwig, go ahead.
In football, no.
I was just going to say
In
Notre
football,
Dame.
yes.
In football, they are obligated to play 5 ACC schools a season, even in their independent schedule. So,
And,
Billy Mack,
it was back then when they had the Big Ten, when they played Michigan, Purdue, and Michigan State.
Anybody else with a hot take on this?
I think if Ohio State would go independent, you would see the TV network that I think would be all in favor of that would be Fox, because they would sign that TV deal.
The Ohio State University Network, baby. Put it out there. Let's go.
Fox also owns the Big Ten network, though, so it's a double-edged sword.
I'm just gonna put our our hat in the ring. Why
not?
We'll do it. We'll do it. You don't gotta pay us anything. We'll give you 10% of your sponsorship. That could probably be a couple bucks. So I mean, I would imagine YSN will cover you. Guys, another staying in the NCAA kind of spirit. When you look at it, a great topic. Coach K talked about it a few days ago. We're gonna bring it up here for a little conversation. Do you think, as we fast forward to basketball season, that the NCAA could afford to lose another March Madness tournament, or do you think that no matter what happens, they've got to go through with it for the revenue? They lost a crap ton of money last March. EB, this was your topic. Let's lead it off.
No, I don't think they can afford another March Madness. March Madness is 90% of their revenue yearly, and probably another 8-9% is generally the college football playoff and bowl games, and then you filter in some of the other championship games. If they don't have a March Madness this year, I really think you just see the NCAA start to dissipate, and rightfully so. The NCAA, who has not really done much as far as anything goes throughout this whole COVID situation, I've said it time and time again, they've had 5 months to prepare for football, and it doesn't sound like they're even doing anything for basketball. They're just going to wait it out to see where everything is and then make a decision from there. If they lose March Madness, the NCAA is in big, big trouble.
Quinn, we haven't heard from you in a little bit. You're the basketball expert here. You and Jeff, what are your opinions?
Well, Jeff's not giving me much today. He's actually quiet for the first time in a while. But, I agree with Eric on that, but it all depends on if they're getting COVID money. If they get bailed out, then they'll do whatever they got to do to keep afloat. But if they don't get bailed out on any sort of way, then the NCAA is going to be – they're screwed. They're basically screwed. March Madness is their moneymaker.
Anybody else have a hot take on this?
Yeah, I think even they're going to start to lose anyway when the NBA starts to really figure out their developmental league with some of those players coming in. So it's a really good opportunity for the March Madness to shine with some of those young stars. So I think they're going to start losing these stars over the next few years, potentially. So I don't think that they can miss this year, because if they miss this year, the NBA may say, hey, let's figure this out. Let's go.
Robert saying I think we'll be fine by that time. Hopefully by January they have protocols and rules in place, and teams have larger recovery period as well, maybe modified schedules. Michael, go ahead.
No, I think we could see fans, but the conference schedule for basketball generally starts after that Christmas era, after that little Christmas couple of weeks. Beginning of January, you get into your conference games. I think that could be realistic if they delay the season. Just axe all the non-conference games. They're going to immediately get into the conference schedule as you had it previously scheduled, on time, first week of January. And then you go into March Madness on the question of, can they afford to lose it? Absolutely not. Now, about the NBA and their G League, they're paying $200K average to the kids that they bring in, but it's 2% of the 2% that actually make it to college. Now, if they do take those stars like maybe the next Zion Williamson,
what are we talking
about? What was it? Billy Mack brought up NBA figuring out their G League, taking all these big stars from college. Now, it's the 2% of that 2% that makes it to the collegiate level that they're actually taking here. I think it also could add more upsets. Now, that is what March Madness is all about, the 15 seeds beating the 2. I think you see more upsets now that you're seeing possibly a little bit more of a level playing field, eliminating the Zions and the RJ Barretts from these schools like Duke in the future. If they get another recruiting class like that, you're probably losing half of those kids to the G League. Because let's be honest, Would you rather go get $200K playing in the G League or go play for nothing in the NCAA? That's why this pay-to-play act needs to come into place quick.
I think a lot of those small schools are folding up, just like a lot of the JUCO communities folding up because they miss football, they cancel football. That's their big revenue. Okay, and a lot of this extra stuff, the kids not going to school, remotely training from, like, instead of going to a small max school over across the country, they would rather just go to YSU remotely online. So I think with all this stuff going on, that's an extra play in that too.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
Any last takes on this? Nope. All right. We are moving on to our next topic at hand, and that is if LeBron James goes down 0-2, is it panic time for the Lakers? And there is one man and only one man that I want to hear from, and it is the man in or lady in red, depending on which way you want to talk about it.
Well, I'll be nice. I'll play along with your question. If he goes down 0-2, because he's not going to go down 0-2.
He wasn't supposed to go down 0-1 either, by the way.
Yeah.
He's not going down 0-2. You don't shoot 5 of 32 every day, plain and simple. And, so he's not going to go down 0-2. If he does go down 0-2, no, it's still not time to panic, period.
He could go down 3-0 and it wouldn't be panic time for Quinn.
If he goes down 3-0, then, yeah, there's a little bit of a problem to take care of.
A little bit. It's the biggest problem the Lakers could have thought of.
Yeah, you just got to sweep the rest of the series.
Thought of is if LeBron goes down and doesn't play. That's the biggest problem.
Oh, he could have one of those infamous cramps.
Nevertheless, he's not.
Or he could pull his jersey off and throw it into the seats like he did in Cleveland and say, "I'm not coming back." I mean,
he's going to win tonight. It's all good. We're going to be talking tomorrow about
LeBron's not the one who's going to win tonight. It's going to be the guys surrounding him because LeBron played his ass off when he played Portland a couple days ago. Dude had the first play. Dude had the first 20, 15, and 15 in NBA history. He needs to be more selfish with the ball. I will give you that. He needs to score more than 28.
LeBron needs to score in the 30s, and Davis needs to quit being a puss. Plain and simple. Anthony Davis needs to go inside.
He needs to shoot better than 8 from 24 for the field. There's a lot of people that need to do better, including LeBron getting more selfish with the ball. If that team plays, if LeBron keeps passing the ball, KCP only scores 1 point, and Danny Green shoots, 0 for 9 from 3. Yes, the Lakers are in trouble because you don't do that 2 games in a row and expect things to suddenly turn around in a couple of days.
Eric?
I was waiting on McNuggies to finish up. Maybe one of my girls will text him and keep him quiet or something. I'm not sure. If LeBron goes down 0-2, is it time to panic for LeBron and the Lakers? No, because I've seen LeBron down 3-1 and everyone pretty much wrapped it up for it to be Golden State's championship.
Exactly.
So
this is different.
You're still panicking.
Give yourself, my man.
It's still panic time.
Like, I don't think it's time to panic, but they definitely need to figure something out. Like the Lakers are just a bunch of oddball parts, and the Blazers are probably playing the best basketball of anyone in the league. So they need to figure out something quick. And if they go down 0-2, I don't think it's time to panic, but it's time to reevaluate some things pretty quick.
Who's yawning, by the way?
I'm in agreement with both EB and Quinn here because in 2018, I also saw LeBron go down 0-2 to that Boston Celtics team with a way worse team around him. And he was able to win that.
Jeff ain't showing up tomorrow.
There it is.
But
is that game over yet?
I am in agreement. I think even if LeBron does go down 0-2, I don't think it's panic time. 0-3, yeah. I think 0-2. I've seen LeBron play with worse teams around him and be able to pull it off. It's not, and I understand a lot of it falls on him too. You gotta come up in big time scenarios. But in that 2018 Cavs team that made it to the finals, he had Kevin Love, who was averaging 8 points. I don't know. I feel like Anthony Davis is a way better second man. He's a guy that has potential to be an MVP in this league. I don't see Anthony Davis having a bad game or a bad series or shooting as bad as he did in the first game. I think you're going to see Anthony Davis come out strong, and I think you're going to see LeBron James come out strong.
I'll tell you this. If Anthony Davis's first 3 shots are from anywhere outside of 8 feet, then I'm going to be worried.
Has Anthony Davis won a playoff game yet in his career?
Yeah, he actually swept the Blazers when he was with the Pelicans.
Did they?
Blazers about to return the favor.
Handily playing for a contract right now.
They also beat the Warriors when they were going through that run with KD. They did take a game off of them a couple years ago.
Davis had like 60 and 30 that game.
Yeah, he went out.
I'm just gonna say this: if the Blazers win tonight, by more than 7 points, I don't see it happening. If the Blazers win at all, it's gonna be a 1-possession game. But if they win, and LeBron and the Lakers play terrible yet again, I might be putting the brooms on standby with Chuck.
Michael,
Charles Barkley.
I will tell you this much. You can go into any gym outside of wherever you want and give 32 shots and you'll make more than 5 threes.
Okay.
It doesn't happen every day where the Lakers will shoot that.
There's no home and away court advantage here. So it's not like if LeBron goes down 0-2, it's not like they're going to Portland now in front of a hostile crowd. It's still in this NBA bubble.
No, they're playing in front of Mickey Mouse and Donald.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's just you're playing 4 basketball games. There's no.
This has never won a playoff game. I just looked it up.
So if you go down 0-2, there's no worry like, oh, we have to win 2 in Portland now. It's just win the next game in front of the same court, in front of the same nobody that is there. You just have to win the next game. I feel like it's obviously a different strategy because there's nobody here. It's a gym. There's no backdrop behind the basket too, so that affects these shooters a little bit. I don't think there's worry time if it's down 0-2. 3-0, yeah, because no one's ever done that. No one's ever came back down 3-0 in basketball, but I guess there's also a first for everything. But nonetheless, we're not even talking about that. If he goes down 0-2, I wouldn't worry.
I'm a Blazers fan right now. Padres and Blazers.
Last call for this topic. How many people think that the Lakers are in trouble down 0-2? Ooh, okay. So
I'm actually looking to get a Damian Lillard jersey if the Blazers win tonight.
3 baseball guys that can care less about basketball raising their hand.
I think it was actually like 4.
He hasn't watched the game. You don't care. And Billy Mack's in his own little world.
Quinn is absolutely – he's absolutely disgusted right now.
It's a joke. They're down 0-2, whatever. They'll be fine. Whatever.
Well,
they're not even going to lose tonight, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. Let's get to our favorite part of the program.
Yeah.
It's the Yankee Update with Jeff Bezos. Today, special guest because Jeff is not here. We are going to turn things over to the child prodigy himself, Mr. Mike McKenzie. Mike, give us a Yankee update, would you?
All right, so before we went on the air, the Yankees had made a comeback. They were only down by 1 run, but nonetheless, made it a 4-3 game. We head into the top of the 6th inning, middle of us being on the air. Tampa Bay Rays get back-to-back RBI singles, followed by a 3-run Mike Zunino home run to make it 8-4. It is currently 8-5. Rays on the verge of breaking out the brooms, sweeping away Jeff Bezos, and taking first place in the AL East. And Jeff, we got a full body bag ready for you tomorrow. So
shovel it in, baby. Shovel it in. Jeff Bezos says,
I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned at all. It's okay.
Business is business. Business is business.
It's 60 games.
We're only down a half game. We're only down a half game.
60 games.
Yeah,
60
you forgot. Who's still in first place?
They're not. They won't be
Love
right
it.
now.
Love
It won't be.
Hey guys, go fornicate yourself.
Guy is down. He's down for the year.
Also, we want to welcome the biggest Padres fan east of San Diego. It is Max Baseball Academy's own Billy Mack. Talk to us about your new team that all of a sudden you're behind.
Oh, love their energy. They have no pitching whatsoever. They play a bunch of bad teams out there. But Tatis is a stud. And
Hey, Jeff, I got a special gift for you on the way. Just give me a
Yankees
second.
should try to get him because he's that good. Give him $300 million right now.
Jeff Bezos says we are fine, and Rob Switka, a diehard Rays fan, and Michael McKenzie, both at the same time, say, get the brooms out, baby. It's sweep time. Interesting enough. Look at this. The Yankees are going to win it all. You better hope so, or else you're out $50, just straight up.
Sweep.
Do you know how ironic it's going to be that he's going to be sweeping at the school and thinking about the Yankees? that is irony in a bottle right there. Like thinking about, he won't want to touch a broom because he knows what's coming. So it's going to be interesting, and we do it out of love because we do love Jeff, and we certainly love Jamie, who's also a Yankee fan. But man, it is way more fun to make fun of Jeff. And That is, I mean, that's my newest favorite segment of the Power Hour is the Yankee update. We'll definitely get rid of it whenever they start winning again. That's for
sponsored
certain.
by Heinz 57 underwear.
Robert Switka down there throwing some shade at you, Billy Mack.
There we go.
What's he doing now?
Ooh.
Listen, we've already been over this loyalty thing.
Yeah, we've
have
already
none.
proved that you were wrong, Billy Mack. It's all right.
Break all the chains, break all the chains. That's what you should be singing. You zero loyalty, and you're like, yeah, I'm still with Cleveland. They're still around. Like that's your squad, dude. You just completely just cast shade on the Indians to go over to the Padres because they're like the pretty girl over there. And then when they step out of the shade, you realize that they're
Come back home. Right.
You got the beer goggles on, dude. You got the beer goggles on.
You can always come back home.
That's not always the case.
It's not always true.
Hey, when you buy the Tatis jersey in about a week and discard of it next year, I'll take that in.
Oh no. Tatis is going to be a stud.
No, I agree with that. I do get
Yeah.
on board. That doesn't mean that that I'm going to root for the Padres anytime soon. We have
You were going to root for the Toronto Blue Jays if they came to Pittsburgh.
because they
Where's
were
your
coming to
loyalty?
Pittsburgh. They were coming to Pittsburgh. If it was the Cleveland Padres, then you have every right. Knock yourself out.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos is making every attempt to get onto this show right now, so I'll give him credit. However, he doesn't establish a connection. So, I mean, that's pretty much a microcosm of Jeff Bezos, if I've ever seen one, that he can't establish a connection. We got to get to this. This is what I'm excited about. We got a few minutes left. Guys, we get to welcome a new member to the YSN family, and I mean, I guess we can't say it any better than if we show a video. So here it is. Yeah, all right. Welcome Canfield to the YSN family. The Canfield Cardinals are now live, and starting this coming week, you'll see Canfield Cardinals volleyball, soccer, and football right here on your sports network. Guys, this has been a long time coming. This is one of the prestigious programs in all of our area. Who else is excited to have Canfield join the YSN family? I mean, you got a Canfield kid right next to me on the square. This is big. Quinn, for you, I mean, this is a big win for you on both sides of the cookie here. Talk to me about how excited you are as being a Canfield alum.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's great to finally have Canfield on board. I mean, I'm probably one of the biggest Canfield guys you know, and I'm very supportive of the school and everything like that. And I'm glad that everything got taken care of and they get to be a part of our family. It's a very exciting time.
It is exciting, and hats off to Mike Cochran, the athletic director over there, as well as Coach Niddle, who was a big part of it, and our own Steve Leslie has been working behind the scenes, even on his birthday today, to make sure that everything comes through. We are excited to welcome Canfield. The Battle of 224, hopefully that maintains, because it's going to be right here on YSN, and when you ask Quinn, that's one of the biggest rivalries in all of Ohio, and we will have it for you here on the network. Guys, that's about it for today, other than our G. Burbick Farms. What's your beef? Let's start at the bottom. Paulie, what's your beef today?
I have no beef. I had some, but I don't want to ruin the joy of what we had there.
All right. Anthony, go ahead.
I guess my beef is just with keyboard warriors. I know we've said it before, but people that get on social media and try to act tough, but then can't do it face to face. So,
all right, Eric, your turn.
My beef is I'm probably going to have to look for a new AAU team because Michael McKenzie is taking all my girls.
Here we go again.
Or they're all going to hate me because I've called them out live on prepared. But outside of that, it's been fun. So best of luck to you, McNuggies. Treat them well.
Ty Bartell.
It's the man that's right up in that corner next to me there, Billy Mack, with all of his unloyal spouting out there. Go get your Padres jersey, and after you're done, why don't you go get the Team Up North jersey because you like someone up on there as well. We already
that's tough.
here, brother.
That's tough.
Those are fighting words. We are over to McNuggy. Go ahead.
I want to try to find a different beef, but I can because Kevin Warren is such. I don't want to say anything that's going to get me grounded. I'm just going to say he doesn't know. I wouldn't trust him to be the commissioner of my fantasy football league. I'll leave it at that.
Get him grounded. I love it. No more
I
allowance
don't
for Mikey.
even know how to battle that, guys. We're up to Billy Mack.
I don't have any beef, but I will say this: like America. Next.
Just because of your choices, that's what you're doing. He's staying in silence. He's pleading the fifth. Let's go over to the Canfield Cardinal himself, Quint Pushkar.
Yeah, I don't have beef either today. I'm with Paul on this one. I want to give a shout out to Steve on his birthday. Steve's an incredible guy, and I'm very thankful that he's a part of what we're doing here. And just want to say happy birthday, Steve.
A great sponsored segment, guys. We're supposed to be bringing beef, and we don't have much to serve up today.
We're happy people.
I do not believe that for 1 second.
Not a bit.
Zero. Lock it up. Zero. My beef is, really not much of one either, but my beef is with anybody who doesn't buy one of these sweet T-shirts that YSN has come out with our partnership. There's our Po Nose shirt for Ron Potesta that will have some awesome marketing behind. But I definitely want to give a shout out to our folks over at where's the website? I'm looking for it. Did I even put it up there? Yeah, there it is. Okay. It is freshprinceyoungstown.com. So make sure that you go over there. You can buy our T-shirts, $18. And especially with the Dirty Birds T-shirt that I'll show off right here. Proceeds for this Dirty Birds T-shirt goes to a scholarship in Class B, and we will make sure that it just keeps on going. We're in the business of giving back, so hopefully you guys buy a T-shirt, support YSN, support local with FreshPrinceYoungstown.com, and Brent, we'll have a segment with them, and we got some good news coming, I believe tomorrow, with one of the local, I guess, not really local anymore. A couple of them down in Virginia and one's in the Carolinas, but we'll break that in just a little bit. So that's going to do it for our show. Everybody, one last wave and happy birthday to our general manager, Mr. Steve Leslie. Happy birthday, buddy. Happy birthday, Steve.